जय ओम विष्णुपाद अभय चरण अरविंद भक्ति वेदांत जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे।
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for this opportunity. So today Srimad Bhagavatam, verse number 9.13.11. So before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, I will do prayers and then we will go to the verse. So you can say with me, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritva Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayat Srunavatam Swakataha Krishnaha Punyasravana Kirtanaha Hridayantastahi Abhadrani Vidinoti Suhritsutam Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaye Bhagavate Bhakti Loke Bhagavate Okay, Bhakti Bhavati Naistaki. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So, I will recite the verse and first 2 times and then you can follow. Deva Uchuhu. Yes.
Hare Krishna. I would like to give a very short introduction of Prabhuji. So this is Prabhuji is His Grace Prasannatma Prabhu. He is one of our God brothers, and he is a very much loved disciple, loving disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Guru Maharaj. He is from USA. He is a scientist, and he has a very cute little baby girl of 2.5 years old. Prabhu came yesterday from Vrindavan for a few days. He will reside here in Ujjain. And he is for the first time, and he is very much interested in our Guru Maharaj's loving project, Dylan project. So he is thinking to shift to there from New York. Now he is residing in New York with his family, and he is a neurologist, scientist. He is a doctor. So we are very much happy to have his association here in Ujjain. So we will welcome Prabhuji with our transcendental method by chanting 3 times Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. His Grace Prasannatma Prabhu ki, Jagat Guru Shil Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So today's verse I will recite 2 times and then we will all recite together. Videha Ushyatam Kamam Lochaneshu Shariranam Unmishena Nimashebhyam Lakshito Ajyatma Samstitaha. Videha Ushyatam Kamam Lochanesu Sariranam Unmeshena Nimashebhyam Lakshito Ajyatma Samstitaha. So I will read. Anybody wants to recite the verse, Prabhuji's? निमिषाभ्याम् रक्षित्वा संस्थिता विदेहा उषितां कामम् लोचनेषु शरीरिणां निमेषेण निमिषाभ्याम् रक्षित्वा अध्यात्मसंस्थिता Mataji's. Okay, word to word translation. I will do this in English. Deva Uchuhu, the demigod said, Videha, without any material body. Ushyatam, you live. Kamam, as you like. Lochaneshu, in the vision. Shariranam, of those who have material bodies. Unmeshena nimshebhyam, become manifest and unmanifest as you desire. Lakshitaha, being seen. Ajatma, samstitaha, situated in a spiritual body. Translation by His Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The demigod said, let Maharaj Nimi live without a material body. Let him live in a spiritual body as a personal associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And according to his desire, let him be manifest or unmanifest to common materially embodied people. And purport by Srila Prabhupada. The demigods wanted Maharaj Nimi to come to life, but Maharaj, you will read behind me, okay. The demigods wanted Maharaj Nimi to come to life, but Maharaj Nimi did not want to accept another material body. Under the circumstances, the demigods, having been requested by the saintly persons, gave him the benediction that he would be able to stay in his spiritual body. There are two kinds of spiritual bodies, as generally understood by common men. The term spiritual body is sometimes taken to refer to a ghostly body. An impious man who dies after sinful activities is sometimes condemned so that he cannot possess a gross material body of 5 material elements, but must live in a subtle body of mind, intelligence and ego. However, as explained in Bhagavad Gita, devotees can give up the material body and attain a spiritual body free from all material tinges, gross and subtle. Tattvadeha punarjanma naiti mameti sojana. Thus, the demigods gave King Nimi the benediction that he would be able to stay in a purely spiritual body, free from all gross and subtle material contamination. The Supreme Personality of Godhead can be seen or unseen according to his own transcendental desire. Similarly, a devotee being Jivan Mukta can be seen or not as he chooses. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Naham Prakasha Sarva Yoga Maya Samavrataha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is not manifest to everyone and anyone. To the common man, he is unseen. Ata Sri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriya. Krishna and his name, fame, qualities and paraphernalia cannot be materially understood. Unless one is advanced in spiritual life, sevonmukta hi jihvadu, one cannot see Krishna. Therefore, the ability to see Krishna depends on Krishna's mercy. The same privilege of being seen or unseen according to one's own desire was given to Maharaj Nimi. Thus, he lived in his original spiritual body as an associate of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Ajnana Timrandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshuranmitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhotale Srimati Charu Swami Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhotale Srimati Swami Namaste Saraswati Vani Pracharane Nirvishesha Sunyavada Prachacha Desata Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaurava Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for all the assembled devotees. I don't have any qualification to talk in front of very senior devotees like Srila Prabhupada disciple, Kaivalya Prabhu, and all the exalted God brothers and devotees here. Because Krishna Kishore Prabhu requested and ordered me to speak today, so I agreed this service, or else I don't have any qualification to sit or speak in front of all the esteemed gathering today. So with that, I would like to try my best to touch this topic. The dynasty of Maharaj Nimi, 9th canto, 13th chapter, 11th sloka. So in this purport, we'll again read, and it's very important for many reasons. So I will read the translation one more time. The demigod said, "Let Maharaj Nimi live without a material body. Let him live in a spiritual body as a personal associate of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and according to his desire, let him be manifest or unmanifest to common materially embodied people." So that's the translation, but Prabhupada gave beautiful purport here. So in this purport, the demigods are giving the blessing to Maharaj Nimi that he can manifest in the spiritual form at his own will. And Prabhupada is describing here how common people see the concept of spiritual body. So if you see here closely in this purport, Prabhupada is describing there are two kinds of spiritual bodies. The one type is ghostly body, and he is defining the ghostly body as an impious man who dies after sinful activities is sometimes condemned so that he cannot possess a gross material body of 5 material elements, but must live in a subtle body of mind, intelligence and ego. So that is the one form, impious form, the ghostly form. However, today we are talking about the other side, that is the for the pure servant of Krishna, how he can manifest and serve. So in this, Srila Prabhupada is describing the pure devotee of Krishna can give up the material body and attain a spiritual body free from all material tinges, gross and subtle. Thus the demigods gave King Nimi the benediction, and he would be able to stay in a purely spiritual body, free from all gross and subtle material contamination. So here demigods are saying that King Nemi can stay in the spiritual body at his own will. So when you have the physical body, there is lot of difficulties, birth, disease, old age, death. But you are in the spiritual body, we don't have any of those difficulties. And, here, very important statement is made. The Supreme Personality of Godhead can be seen or unseen according to his own transcendental desire. Similarly, a devotee being Jivan Mukta can be seen or not as he chooses. So, when Guru Maharaj left, always, myself and we all think why this happened. And the healing is not happened yet. But, this verse gives a perfect kind of like Prabhupada is writing, when a pure devotee has a will, he can be seen or not as he chooses. So sometimes materially, when we think why this happened, the logic, so there is a beautiful statement where the logic ends, spirituality starts. So anything spiritual we cannot explain by material terms. In material terms, you can say, Vrindavan is 42 kilometers or some X number. Don't quote on me that. I'm just giving you some X number. But in spiritual terms, nobody can measure the length, breadth, and the depth of anything spiritual. So when Krishna Kishore Prabhu has given this verse, I am reading this. Immediately I have healing in my heart after so many years. That why this happened, and in the same way, at the end of this paragraph, Srila Prabhupada made another very important statement, that the ability to see Krishna depends on Krishna's mercy. So we cannot see Krishna even, how much we try. It only depends on these two words, Krishna's mercy. And how to attain Krishna's mercy is other subject of a big discussion. So when I decided to thinking about how to talk today's morning and attract Krishna's mercy and also Guru Maharaj's mercy, there is no other topic that is more apt than talking about Srila Prabhupada. Because, in Bhagavatam and various parts of the Vedas, when you describe about Krishna, the Krishna Leela gives so much benediction, spiritually. But when you talk about the Senapati or the, prominent Jagat Guru, the prime commander in the Krishna's army, it gives more and more Krishna's mercy. And we can see that many times throughout Srimad Bhagavatam, how Krishna's disciples or Krishna's devotees are being glorified. So with that, to attract the mercy in this, Damodar month, today we will take some time to talk about Srila Prabhupada. So I will start with, Kaivalya Prabhu, please correct me. You know much better than any of us. You met Srila Prabhupada, and we are trying our humble attempt to glorify Srila Prabhupada. So this statement, when probably you all heard, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. So I don't know whether that is apt to, going to moon, but that is really apt for Srila Prabhupada. The very concept or consciousness of staying here in this room couldn't happen if Srila Prabhupada didn't take that one step. So I will start this journey from Radha Damodar temple, where the famous picture where Srila Prabhupada is looking, from the window, taking prasadam, looking Rupa Goswami's Samadhi Mandir. When you see that picture, this is a person who is man on mission, who is praying for 5 years, crying, and he has no clue how to, serve his Guru Maharaja's, statement of preaching the. So he was sitting day and night in that small room, writing books, Srimad Bhagavatam, and crying, and finally, lot of hardships. He finally got onto Jaladuta. And on the Jaladuta, it's almost like 30 days of travel. When we go in a non-stop flight for 14 hours and next 1 week, you will have jet lag. But here is a personality where he is the sole passenger on this ship for 30 days with 2 heart attacks. And I will just recite the beautiful poem, not recite, but the gist of Markin Bhagavata, the poem Dharma, Markin Bhagavata Dharma, he wrote on that ship, where he wrote that he is addressing to Krishna. I have no friends. I have no place to stay in this country. And when he landed on this Commonwealth Pier in Boston, right, he saw the population there. And then he said, most of the people here are deeply involved in ignorance, and I don't even know how I can make a single one become a devotee. But you are the most expert mystic. You brought me here to speak about you. Now it's up to you to make me either success or failure. And very important, he wrote these last 2 statements. I just grabbed the gist of it. It's a 1-page document. And he ended this, because of his causeless mercy, everything is possible. And he signs this very significant. I am the most insignificant beggar, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And with this poem, he lands on US soil, September 18, 1965. And the ship stayed there for a few hours, and then he went to Butler, Pennsylvania. And then he stayed there for some time, and he came back to New York City. And the initial days are extremely challenging. If you see those days, the culture of New York City, it is counterculture. Counter means against culture. Means everybody is deeply engrossed in all the bad things you can imagine. They all did PhD in bad things. And to Hare Krishna. So those are the audience to whom Srila Prabhupada has to talk. And the first, the room, the matchless gifts, 26 2nd Avenue. So the size of the matchless gifts is maybe you can say 4 times, this. That's where the whole Prabhupada's preaching mission started. And I came to Krishna consciousness in New York City, and the first temple I visited is Matchless Gifts. And they only open 3 times a week, this temple, where there is a very nice lawyer, Jiva Prabhu, who maintains that and they give Bhagavad Gita classes there only 2 or 3 times a week. And one time, imagine it's the 1960s where people are coming to Srila Prabhupada classes, drunkards, and sometimes these maniac beggars. You still see in the streets of New York City, but at that time it's maybe 100 times more. And there is an instance where Srila Prabhupada is so compassionate even to these beggars who are interrupting his Bhagavad Gita class, that they know there is something going on here. So that's why they are here. And he is giving prasadam to them. So, that kind of tolerance and patience and compassion and seeing equally everyone. To just give an example of matchless gifts, even coming to the matchless gifts, there was one night where he was having this roommate who was high on the drugs. And in the middle of the night at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., this person is chasing Srila Prabhupada, and those winters are brutal. Especially starting from November to April, where Srila Prabhupada has to leave that room in the middle of the night, where there is no place. Even if I even thought about going to US in Northeast, as Kaivalya Prabhu resides in Philadelphia, and that area is, he knows how cold it gets. And he has to find a place in the middle of the night to save himself from this lunatic, drug-addicted person. So those are the things Prabhupada has gone through, which I always keep in my heart very closely, that this thing happened on lot of sacrifices, the whole Iskcon movement. So from that point onwards, in 1966, he initiated from the same small temple, Matchless Gifts, International Society of Krishna Consciousness in 1966. And imagine a person sitting in a small room like, 4 times size of this, coming up with a international society. And lot of people said, no, you can't do this, give God Society or something else. But he's so strong that it should be Krishna Society. And after that, he established the Brooklyn Temple. And I will keep a tab on the time. And then he established so many temples. Most importantly, I will highlight some of the main things he did. In 1968, he established this New Brindavan temple, a New Brindavan project, which is like 1,000-acre property, where he established beautiful Radha Brindavan Chandra deities. And the whole goal of this farm community is to grow crops and tend cows for Krishna's pleasure. And after that, during the same time, Prabhupada established first Gurukula in Dallas, where he felt it's so important to teach our next generation from the beginning of Krishna Bhakti. And a lot of people came into Krishna consciousness, including me, is Sunday Love Feast. Even Steve Jobs used to walk many miles to get Krishna Prasadam. So Prabhupada is so perfect that he went to a new place, new culture, everything is new, but he adapted the same principles of Eastern philosophy and he presented it in a pristine, accurate, perfect way as per the time and circumstances of hippie culture. And he said, I make all hippies happies. You didn't need, any of that. Uh, uh, Sunday Love Feast is one of the big things he introduced. And after that, if you see his first 5,000 disciples, they all are Western devotees with various backgrounds, and to train them. And also he is, in a revolutionary personality. He did things unheard of. For example, in India, like at that time, 60 years back, you can never imagine, a Mataji, worshipping deities. And he changed the whole culture, and he established Brahmacharani ashram. And he is against this kind of like, tabooed things. And he also started Radayatra. Lot of people cannot even go to the temple. Let's bring the God to the people. And the first Radayatra happened in San Francisco. And he is also a great businessman, where he started spiritual sky incense business in 1967. In that 1 year, it generated $1 million in 1967. And on top of this, we should very carefully understand one thing, that out of all his contributions, the biggest contribution he made is his books. And doing all of this, he is only sleeping 2 hours, 3 hours a day. And he is writing these books. And when we discuss with people like Sutakit Prabhu, who traveled with him 4 times across the globe, there were nights when Srila Prabhupada never sleeps. He just dictates whole night. It's like man on mission. And he wrote almost like, 140 books in various capacities during his lifetime, and 7,000 letters to his disciples. And I did a little math. 7,000 by 365 is 19.17 letters. Means if you write 2 letters per day, it takes 19 years to write these letters. And that too, those days, he has to write with a pen. And some of these letters are so precious to Prabhupada disciples. Still to date, those letters are there, Bhagavad Gita. And they follow those letters very strictly. Even if you see TOVP project, lot of ideas came from Srila Prabhupada's letters, how to build this project. He is so expert that how to propagate this movement. And he sent a lot of devotees, Mother Malati and Syam Sundar Prabhu, to London, where they met Beatles. And and also, at least in 75 Hollywood movies, Iskcon movement was presented in various forms. And he is, again, I am talking about various aspects of Srila Prabhupada, where I am trying to capture a small drop of his activities. If we even do 0.0001% of what Srila Prabhupada did, that is a huge accomplishment. Say, he established 108 temples, and at that time there is no phone, no WhatsApp, no Facebook, no email, and he is managing these 108 temples just by letters and by personal meetings with the devotees. Imagine running a one temple with so many departments. You all know how difficult it is. And this is a personality single-handedly doing all of this and running these temples and 1,000-acre property like New Brindavan and all these things. And he started world first chain of vegetarian restaurants, Govindas. If you go anywhere in the world, any major city, you will find this Govindas restaurant. And on top of this, he has 2,200 recorded lectures, Bhakti related, and 1,300 recorded lectures talking with scientists and how to defeat this Darwinism and this all kind of, concepts. And on top of that, he met the world leaders like Indira Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, and all these things. If you do the math, I'm just telling the numbers, but the hours and minutes he spent on spreading the Krishna consciousness, we cannot even conceive what he did. And on top of that, he added Iskcon life membership program, where the initial days, lot of Lakshmi used to come to the life membership program. And he started Bhaktivedanta Institute to scientifically preach Krishna consciousness. And he built temples like Vrindavan, Juhu, Mayapur. These are the world headquarters where, a lot of devotees go there to refill their batteries and again go to the mission of preaching. Each temple building, there is a book now. You know how they built, acquired Juhu land, fight for that land and build that Juhu temple. Brindavan temple, where there were dacoits staying in that land, and how to acquire that land and build Krishna Balram temple. So, and if you see in US or anywhere in the world, all the Krishna's pictures were made by these Srila Prabhupada disciples in 1960s, 70s, where they never came to India. Prabhupada is describing Krishna looks like this, Radharani looks like this, cows and everything. And these devotees are painting these beautiful pictures. So he encouraged a lot of his artist disciples to do pictures. And he also encouraged to make doll making, where eventually they become museums. If you see dioramas and museums, that all came, that from the doll making idea. So Encyclopedia of Britannica has mentioned that Srila Prabhupada have astounded literary and academic communities worldwide. So I will stop in 1 minute, because we have to end at 8:45. And what else I can say? Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, it produced billions of books, billions. And to have these books, you need trains of paper is needed, not a small thing. It's like tons and tons and trains of paper. I will read this statement. Since we are all susceptible to onslaught of 6 bad qualities, we should place our heads in all humility at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, engage enthusiastically in his glorification, and try to please him by serving his mission to the best of our abilities. In this way, we are free from material conception and develop pure love of Krishna. So I think, that is the mission I understood. Basically, we do not have any power to do by ourselves. but only through glorifying lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and engaging in his mission of this whole, all the things I read. This is his mission, everything, we discussed so far. So I will end saying this. Historically, when people see this movement after 100 years, people will be envious in future that we are all living in a time when this movement was begun and expanding during our times. So if you see next maybe 30, 40 years down the line, there will be nobody like who associated with Prabhupada will be on this planet Earth. So these times are so special that, we are still living in a history. Even after 100 years, people look back, we are all very fortunate to live during this time. And with all that, please forgive me if I do any mistakes. And Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Krupasindubhyacha Pattanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So, any questions or anything, chastisement? Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the amazing class. Glorification about Srila Prabhupada. So nowadays, there is a concept which says taking care of people is more important than a project. In English, they say, putting the horse before the cart. But by the achievements and the projects of Srila Prabhupada, it looks like Srila Prabhupada's focus was more on the projects than the people. So how to justify and understand this statement?
Thank you so much for asking that question. To answer that question, imagine Western audience who are different country, different place. They never wear dhoti or tilak. Actually, they are all, most of them are drug addicts or alcohol or whatever it may be. And imagine how much love Srila Prabhupada showed them to transform their hearts. It's all taking care of people. And the projects manifested with time. Because Srila Prabhupada took care of these people so nicely, they are willing to give their lives for the name of, for Srila Prabhupada. They are meeting an old person, leaving their families to give an example. Because you asked that question. 2 days back, I got a very wonderful opportunity to participate in a inauguration of Govardhan Retreat Center in Vrindavan. And the two people who are instrumental are Burijan Prabhu and His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj. So they are trying for last 6 years to have this project to bring to reality. And finally it happened. And the project is about to inaugurate on October 10th. And the 9th night, His Holiness Sachinandan Swami Maharaj's father, he got a phone call saying that his father passed away. As a son, and his mother, he's 96. His mother is too old. And the two sons are pretty much dedicated to Krishna's movement. And he is so committed to Srila Prabhupada's mission, he didn't go immediately, and he stayed whole day, in this opening. That shows the commitment of Srila Prabhupada disciples to answer, yes, it's all about people. how you take care of them. And there is not a better place than Iskcon Ujjain. You know, how the atmosphere is so loving, and how you all take care of, the guests and everybody. Prabhupada will be very happy.
Hare Krishna. So I have a question from the purport. Here we see that the demigods are giving benedictions that the Nimi Maharaj will be liberated and he will have personal association of the Lord. And on the other hand, we have also heard that only Lord Mukunda can give liberation. So how to understand this, that demigods are giving liberation to Nimi Maharaj?
So I will take phone or friend help here, because sometimes if I don't know, I accept I don't know. So if any senior Vaishnavas have a good answer for this, please help us. If not, I will find the answer and I will email it to you. I don't want to say something that is not correct. Seems it's a very difficult question. Okay. So I will get back to you. I will talk with some senior Vaishnavas and get back to you. Any other questions? All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to Guru Maharaj.